clearly Wilson had come not so much to discuss the terms for ending a war or for restoring the existing international order, as he had to recast a whole system of international relations. It had been practiced for nearly 3 centuries. For as long as Americans have been reflecting on foreign policy, they have ascribed Europe's travails to the balance of power system. And since the time Europe first had to concern itself with the American policy, its leaders have looked askance at America's self-appointed mission of the global reforms. Each side has behaved as if the other had freely chosen its mode of diplomatic behavior, and it could have, were it wiser or less bellicose, selected some other more agreeable method. In fact, both the American and European approaches to foreign policy were the products of their own unique circumstances. Americans inhabited a nearly empty continent shielded from predatory powers by 2 vast oceans with the weak countries as neighbors. Since America confronted no power in need of being balanced, it could hardly have occupied itself with the challenges of equilibrium. Even if its leaders had been seized by the bizarre notion of replicating European conditions. Amidst a people who had turned their backs on Europe, the anguishing dilemmas of security that tormented European nations did not touch America for nearly 150 years. When they did, America twice participated in world wars, which had been started by the nations of Europe. In each instance, by the time America got involved, the balance of power had already failed to operate. Producing this paradox that the balance of power, which most Americans disdained, in fact assured the Americans security as long as it functioned and it was designed, and that it was its breakdown that drew America into international politics. The nations of Europe did not choose the balance of power as a means for regulating their relations out of innate quarrelsomeness or an old war of love, of intrigue. If the emphasis on democracy and international law was the product of the Americas' unique sense of security, European diplomacy had been forged in the school of hard knocks. Europe was thrown into balance of power politics when its first choice of medieval dream of universal empire collapsed, and a host of states of more or less equal strength arose from the ashes of that ancient aspiration. When a group of states so constituted are obliged to deal with one another, there are only 2 possible outcomes. Either one state becomes so strong that it dominates all the others and creates an empire, or no state is ever quite powerful enough to achieve that goal. In the latter case, the pretensions of the most aggressive member of the international community are kept in check by combinations of the others. Well, as we talk about them, we necessarily talk about the other powers who were dealing there in America's favor, whether in the European continent or elsewhere in the world.